All right, so you want to be a Geographic Information Systems specialist, huh? Well, you came to the right place.
That's right, we're diving deep into GIS today.
We've got a ton of info here from RoleCatcher.com, so let's get into it.
Sounds good to me.
So, first things first, what exactly is GIS? I mean, it's more than just making maps,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. It's about turning raw data,
Mm.
like think soil density, population clusters, all that good stuff, and turning it into something visual and useful.
Okay, so they call it visual magic in these RoleCatcher excerpts, but how is it actually used in the real world?
Tons of ways. Imagine you're trying to figure out the best spot for a new wind farm.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
GIS specialists would take all those different factors, wind patterns, terrain, even like where the power lines are, and turn it into a visual story that helps people make smarter, faster decisions.
So like 3D models and stuff.
Exactly. 3D models, maps, you name it. It's all about making that data make sense.
That makes a lot of sense. And RoleCatcher mentions reservoirs a lot. Is that like the main thing GIS specialists work on?
It's definitely a big one, especially in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah.
But honestly, GIS skills are useful pretty much everywhere.
Really?
Urban planning, environmental management, disaster response. I mean, the possibilities are huge.
Wow. Okay. So what's it actually like to be a GIS specialist? What do you do all day?
Well, it's fast-paced, for sure,
Hmm.
and collaborative. You're working with a lot of different people.
I bet.
And there's a good amount of office time, obviously, working with software.
Right?
But it's not all just staring at a computer screen. RoleCatcher talks about traveling to project sites, too. And with 3D printing and machine learning becoming more common, it seems like things are always changing and evolving.
3D printing, that's pretty cool.
Right.
So speaking of cool, what about the job outlook for GIS specialists? I mean, it seems like a pretty in-demand field.
Oh, it absolutely is. High demand, specialized skills.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as we need to understand the world around us, which I think is always, we're going to need GIS tros. Especially with things like climate change and resource management becoming even more important.
That's good to hear, especially if you're thinking about a career change. But, like with any job, I'm sure there are some downsides, right?
Well, let's see. What does RoleCatcher say? Well, it's not all sunshine and roses, right?
Right.
They mention the salary's pretty competitive, but there's a lot to learn. You got to keep learning.
It's not like you just learn it once and you're good to go.
Exactly. It's always changing, new technologies, new software.
Yeah.
So you got to be prepared to be a lifelong learner.
Makes sense. So, like, how do you actually do that? Keep up with everything?
Well, conferences are big, workshops too,
Okay.
and joining professional organizations like the American Association of Geographers, that could be helpful.
I bet. Networking and all that.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's the software.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
ArcGIS is the big one.
Hmm.
But there's QGIS too, which is open source. And then, more and more, you're seeing programming languages like Python and R being used.
Programming languages. Wow, that's intense.
Yeah, it can be. But it's becoming more and more essential, especially as we're dealing with these massive data sets.
I can see that. So it's not just about making maps anymore, it's about analyzing the data, too.
Exactly. It's about turning that data into something meaningful, something that can be used to make decisions.
Right, right. So let's say you're fresh out of college, you're just getting started in GIS. What's your best bet for breaking into the field?
Well, RoleCatcher really stresses internships. Those are huge.
Yeah.
But they also talk about volunteer work, even research projects, as ways to build your portfolio.
So it's not just about what you know, it's about what you can show you know.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher actually walks you through those different career stages. You start out assisting with data processing, map creation,
Okay.
and as you gain experience, you move up to leading projects, managing teams.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of those interview questions we were talking about earlier.
The ones with the AI feedback.
Yeah, those ones. Those are pretty cool.
Well, according to these excerpts, a lot of the questions are designed to see how you think spatially, how you solve problems using GIS.
So it's not just about knowing the software, it's about knowing how to apply it.
Exactly. And here's something I didn't expect: communication skills. RoleCatcher really emphasizes how important those are in GIS.
Really? I wouldn't have thought that was such a big deal for a tech-heavy field like that.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
You can have all the technical skills in the world, but if you can't communicate your findings clearly, it's not going to do much good.
That's true. It's like that saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but you still need to be able to explain what the picture means.
Exactly. And that's where those communication skills come in handy, especially during job interviews, which, by the way, RoleCatcher has a ton of resources for.
Oh, yeah. Their AI-powered practice tools are supposed to be amazing.
And that huge database of potential employers. That's got to be helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So it seems like RoleCatcher is all about helping you find the right GIS job for you, not just any job.
Absolutely. They talk about their Career Compass tool, which helps you figure out what kind of GIS work best aligns with your interests and skills.
That's pretty cool. It's like having a personalized roadmap for your career. It's like they've got you covered every step of the way.
Pretty much.
They know beyond the tech stuff and the career advice, what I think is really cool about GIS is how it can be used to make a real difference in the world. We're talking about solving big problems like climate change, urbanization, things like that.
For sure. Those are all spatial issues at their core, and GIS can help us understand and address them.
It's one thing to analyze the problem, but GIS helps you actually visualize those solutions.
Exactly.
So for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, I'm in, I want to be a GIS specialist, what's one thing they can do, like today, to get started?
Download QGIS.
QGIS.
It's a free, open source GIS software. There's tons of tutorials online, so you can just dive in and start playing around with it.
That's awesome. No need to sign up for a class or anything. Just start experimenting.
Exactly. It's the best way to learn.
I love it. Who knows? Maybe one of our listeners will discover they have a knack for this visual magic stuff.
Or they'll end up designing the next big thing in augmented reality GIS experiences. The possibilities are really endless, especially as technology keeps evolving.
That is an awesome thought to end on.
It is, isn't it?
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of GIS. Thanks to everyone for listening.
And remember, whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, this field is all about continuous learning.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions.
And who knows, maybe we'll see you at the next GIS conference.
That's it for us. Until next time, keep on learning.